Okay. And we are live with Roadwarden. Yay! One of my favorite games of all time. I really love this game. It's actually where I get the music for my introduction. The music you can hear right now in the background. Yeah, that's from this game. We are going to be playing it. I do want, because this is a like choose your own adventure text-based kind of game, I don't want to like reveal all the secrets or something. I want you guys to play the game as well, because I love it and I want more people to play it. So we're going to be doing some kind of a gimmick run. I think I have an idea of what the gimmick is going to be, but we'll see if we can like flesh it out a bit more today. We're going to be playing for a bit. My voice is a bit raspy from yesterday because we had to do a lot of reading. Oh, speaking of yesterday, we played Windy Meadow, which is a game that takes place in the same universe as Roadwarden. I don't think it was quite as good as Roadwarden, but at least it's like a nice introduction. If you guys saw that stream yesterday, you at least know the world somewhat, so to make getting into this game a bit easier. But I think this game does a much better job with making choices and having decisions and actually playing a video game, because you have to, not only do you have to think about complex moral choices, but you also have to manage resources while doing it. So you sometimes have to compromise your ideals or make hard choices since you have limited resources to balance out something or other. You'll see. You'll see. Anyway, let's get started. Every day we're going to start with a quote, because that's how the game works. Today's quote is, assuming a new identity takes only moving to a distant settlement. It's all quotes from in-universe, if I remember right. It gives you some little hints about how the world works. Let's go with a new game. Everyone knows to stay away from the wilderness. Most people would never risk a lonely journey. Roadwardens not only accept the struggle, they embrace it. They deliver messages, assist merchants, burn human corpses, and if possible, get rid of the beasts and highwaymen. They live on the road, die young, or retire early. It's a dangerous job, but a respectable one, and it pays well. I have my doubts. Oh, okay. I leave the safety of the city walls. We now have a difficulty mode. I could go with restrictive. We have a tighter time limit. Oh, we can have advanced options. Time limit, 45 days, 40 days, 30 days. Easier quests needs no time limit. Skip the prologue / tutorial. We're gonna keep the tutorial in. You know what? Let's go... Oh, well, that's the regular difficulty. The wall is still standing. There are no wolves around, no stench of blood. Good signs. This should be the place you're looking for. We're supposed to meet with a group of soldiers, but you hear no voices, no sounds of labor. The gate is ajar, but the camp isn't safe. It may keep away the goblins and pebblers, but not beast folk nor trolls. And the night is near. Your palpy breathes heavily. It's had a long day. Could open another shelter. We have half an hour before dusk. No, we can't. Let's look around. Considering the noise, you doubt that anyone noticed the clatter of hooves. The short dry grass barely covers the arid soil of this valley, but you're maybe a minute away from the edge of the sparse woods, which get denser as they climb up the hill. At best, this trail has a few more years before getting overgrown for good. Hard to believe it's the only route north. Let's sneak inside the... We're gonna be playing... Well, let's define our character. Let's be confident. Enter their camp briskly. Your heavy boots hit the ground and the pain of the long ride finally catches up with you. You stretch out, bring your back and legs comfort. All you want now is a table, a decent chair, a nice mug of beer, and some warm stew. With any luck, your axe won't be needed here. And now we have our first resource, Vitality. Take care of yourself. If you're hurt or exhausted, some actions won't be available to you. The weaker you are, the higher the chance you'll die in combat. Okay, let's approach the gate. If it's a military camp, it doesn't look the part. Plenty of wasted space. The fire pit is cold. Two people are sitting at a table, tired and disheartened. They're looking in different directions, paying no attention to one another. One of them is holding a cup. I walk towards them. There's a few breaths to glance in your direction. The first person greets you with a wave of his hand. There are bags under his eyes. His beard is messy. Despite his simple shirt, he is wearing durable, decent boots. A mace with a head covered in iron hangs at his side, but he doesn't reach for it. I take a look at the second soul. Just like you, she's wearing a gambeson, but hers is a bit loose, as if she took it off a corpse. Her head is shaven, as if she's protecting herself from flesh-eating bugs. Her eyes are wary. Oh, the dog is out. Bye, doggy. Oh, bye. Okay, we're back. Her eyes are wary, yet kind. She smiles. Considering the squad was sent here half a year ago, these two surely look the part. Though there should be more of them, 8, you believe. Ask them about the lieutenant. You wonder how you should phrase your question. Whenever you meet new people, you can influence how they perceive you by selecting one of the attitudes. Friendly, I was hoping to meet with your lieutenant. Playful. I'm sure you're busy, so if you could just introduce me to your lieutenant. Distance. Intimidating. Vulnerable. Let's be playful. I'm sure you're busy, so if you could just introduce me to your lieutenant. The armored soldiers spare you a polite smile. Next time, better schedule a meeting. This place gets really crowded these days. She stands up. She pays little attention to the sword at her side. I figure you aren't here on a walk. Let's say it's me you need to speak with. Are you a messenger? Did you lose your mount, or are you looking for help? I'm your new bleh. I'm going to get used to saying that. I'm your new Roadwarden. My horse is waiting outside. Really? The soldier in the shirt leans forward. That explains how you got here in one piece all by yourself. Better bring your beast here, adds the lieutenant. We have no hay, but I bet it dreams of dropping its saddle. A long pause. I'm Tulia, by the way. She reaches out her hand. Maybe you're trapped? No, we're confident. Shake her hand. I'm... Leto. Should we pick another name? Yeah, Leto's fine. Let's be... more fancy. No, more simple. Al? No. No, Leto is fine. 4 letters. Simple enough. Her grasp is confident. The shake is slight. Just keep your horse away from the tents. She steps away. We don't need to smell its dung. Oh, there is this one issue. The soldier in the shirt also rises to his feet. We've no tent to spare. You have to use a blanket or something. I should get used to sleeping on the ground anyway. You walk her through the gate. Your mount looks around and snorts anxiously. How many humans could ride a horse? It's not only taller than you, but also bulky, as heavy as it is strong. You can get in the saddle within a single breath, but most people wouldn't know where to even begin. From every side is a wall of flesh. Horses were brought to the Dragonwoods from the conquests in the south. They can trot for a long time, but you won't outrun some of the local monsters. Your palfrey needs you to survive, but without you, it too will be lost. It's my only companion here. I want it to feel at ease. I don't care how it feels, but I need it to be strong. If I want to travel, I can't afford another one. We can change it later, but let's start with this mentality. I don't care how it feels, but I need it to be strong. If I want to travel, and I can't afford another one. He keeps watching his surrounding, ignoring your approach. You clear your throat and reaches out for the reins. It's only then the beast responds with a stomp of its leg. Humans sees useful animals, and even pets, as monsters in disguise. Getting emotionally attached to them is believed to lead humans to their doom. Lead it to the camp. You end up next to the fire pit. Removing the saddle makes the horse nicker with relief. You take a couple minutes to examine its back, just in case. While the riding equipment is not that heavy for such a strong animal, with enough time it starts to chafe. You wish it had something better to eat than the shabby grass. You should look at for an inn. Let's unpack. You haven't brought that many things, and you lost one of your sacks while fleeing the Crimson Corpse Eaters. Worst of all, you have no rope left, but maybe the soldiers could share one. It shouldn't cost more than a dragon bone. Aside from the travel set, you own a few valuable possessions, essential for your trade: fighter, mage, or scholar. My first time around I played as a mage. It's an E class, you get magical powers which help you. They're like utility powers. Like you can make lights, or detect magic, or make a distraction. Scholar... I carry writing instruments and alchemical ingredients. Scholar is more for discovering the secrets of the game, I'm gonna guess. I don't want to discover all the secrets, not on stream. I want you guys to try it out. Let's be a fighter. I spent my savings on the decent combat equipment. I have a fine gibbeson, an axe made of steel, and a reliable crossbow. Oh god. I remember getting all these items as a mage. They were so expensive. You unpack and inspect your belongings. Your water skin isn't pierced. The spare clothes are still here. Just in case, you take a look at your wooden bowl and mug, your cape, tinder box, bandages, food rations, knife. Nothing special or too cumbersome. From time to time, your routine helps you avoid mistakes, but this doesn't make it any more exciting. Taking hits will damage your armor. You then face it in settlements. Trap of 4 armor. It will stop even a life-threatening strike. With your current gibbeson is the best protection you can get. Inventory. You have food rations. It consists of dried meat, crackers, nuts, seeds, fruits, and water, which spoil slowly and don't require additional cooking. The fresh snacks spoil fast outside of a cellar, while long-lasting foods are either expensive like honey or dried meat, or require cooking before consumption, like beans or grains. Most travelers spend their nights at the taverns, huts and villages where they can trade for cheap, warm meals, or even eat leftover for free. As a result, food rations are eaten only when necessary. Merchandise, we have some dragon bones, a pouch with coins. The city artisans make coins by cutting dragon bones into slices. They're valued by merchants, though rarely used in the countryside. When it comes to trade, there's barely any connection between Hovlevan's marketplaces, which is the main city we're from, Hovlevan's marketplaces, and the inns of the countryside. While city officials keep track of the value of different goods and oversee the legitimacy of the used coins, the villagers prefer to barter or exchange the resources for work and other favors. A single coin is worth quite a lot among merchants. It allows you to stay and eat in a shoddy city tavern for about 5 days. For 10 coins, you'd buy a decent bow. For 20, a sword, and for 100, a squad of mercenaries will be willing to face a family of trolls. Because we're outside of the city, these aren't valued as much. While these can buy you like 5 days in a big city, out in the countryside, where people don't actually use these coins, they're not as valuable. A gambeson, a padded defensive jacket made of linen filled with rags. It is the cheapest type of armor. It's surprisingly effective and as a result very common. Padded jackets are an essential piece of any armor set. They protect... I mean, gambesons, they need a lot of cloth. Like a lot. So, I mean, they're easy compared to having to do a full smithing process for iron or something, but it's not that easy. Padded jackets are an essential piece of any armor set. They protect the wearer's chest, abdomens, arms, and thighs. The lighter jackets, called aketons, are worn under heavier sets made of alloys or chitin, while the thicker ones, known as gambesons, are worn alone. They're relatively easy to make, and while not all travelers can afford them or wear them for hours without getting tired, they are commonly used by guides, mercenaries, and soldiers. If your armor's not in the best shape, you can use some additional work. Then we have a fine gambeson. Well, a travel set. Your set contains all sorts of useful tools, all sorts of odds and ends that you've taken in this journey, just in case. A rain-proof cloak, a set of bone needles and a thread, an iron knife, a blade sharpener, a tinder box, and a couple of tallow candles, a bunch of rags used to make torches, as well as a flask of oil, a pair of protective gloves made of thick leather, and probably more. Weapons. A well-crafted battle axe. Traveling with an axe shows that you've learned how to fight humans and human-sized monsters, while having a weapon made of steel makes it clear that you're someone to be reckoned with. Axes made of metals or alloys are among the most common weapons used by travelers. Not as safe as spears, not as fancy as swords, but their powerful strikes can get through animal shells, scales, or thick furs, as well as most armors. They are not great when it comes to parrying, but a single strike may be enough to leave a devastating wound. Still, the majority of them are used by lumberjacks, farmers, or carpenters, and they're pretty much every household in the countryside owns at least one, just in case. Their shapes and size and used materials vary. Heads are made of stone, especially flint, bones, chitin, and massive seashells, while handles are almost always made of wood, antlers, and leather straps. You spend a lot of time training how to fight, and like most warriors, your grip is reliable. If needed, you can throw an axe to hit a target over a dozen feet away. That's pretty good. The crossbow. Difficult to make and valued for the usefulness, crossbows can be used even by an inexperienced traveler and can pierce most scales and armor. Difficult to buy a crossbow outside of city craft guilds. They require complex mechanisms made by combined efforts of specialized artisans, but their expensive bars may keep the weapon drawn for many hours. They are easy to aim and shoot, and their quarrel hits much harder than regular bow arrows. While loading takes a fair bit of time, in some cases even half a minute, the newer models don't require much effort nor strength thanks to the introduction of advanced winches. Such a weapon can be a powerful tool even in the hands of an untrained monk. Since crossbows are much more complex than bows, they are often altered by enchanters who focus their attention on a specific small part. The most popular enhancements include faster reload speed, extended draw weight, increased durability, and lighter weight. So that's all our inventory for now. We keep examining it as we upgrade or update. We only have 5 dragon bones. I remember you struggle a lot with resources in the early game. Oh well. Let's get to that. Let's get on. I return to the soldiers. They're at the table again, observing your beast and chatting between themselves. Your stomach growls at the sight of them, eating out of wooden bowls. One more bowl was put at the previously unused end of the table. You can sit down on a tree log. I think it with a meal, but I don't want to eat with them. I join them and take a look at the meal. I completely ignore the meal. No, let's eat. Food is important. Nutrition. Keeping your stomach full will make you stronger. Starvation won't allow you to restore vitality while resting. And we have some meals, some snacks in our bag, but we should keep them. It's called gruel, the meal eaten in times of hardship. The specific bowl is filled with water, hog, millet, some strange-looking cereals, and blueberries. Welcoming you with a meal, even a humble one, is beyond their duty. Soldiers live with and for their companions, constantly on the move from one part of the realm to another, making sacrifices to protect their group as they face dozens of hideous creatures. Their lives are filled with discipline, hardship, and camaraderie. Friendship again. Roadwardens, on the other hand, learn how to work by themselves. They seldom engage in open combat, patrolling the same roads for years. They help settlements stay in touch, but also maintain commerce, settle down, forge friendships. When there are no laws to follow, they use their own judgments. Different responsibilities, different lifestyles. How much time do we have? It doesn't say our time limit yet. I eat quickly, not focusing on the taste, then speak with Tulia, the lieutenant. Food! She's focused on chooses her words carefully. She looks away only when she gathers her thoughts. I'm afraid I can't tell you less than I would like to, and less than I should. She nods towards the other soldier. As you can see, there's not a lot of us left. At the beginning of summer, there were 8 of us, including our previous lieutenant. 5 are dead, and 1 has run away in tears. We're also strangers in these lands, adds her companion. So 2 out of 8 soldiers survived. It's been the beginning of summer, we're near the late summer, so it's been like 2 months. It's pretty bad. Any piece of information may help me do my job. The man leans forward, his legs shake nervously. He sounds like a kid asking a bard to sing one more story, tell a joke, or do a magic trick. Whatever it takes to escape from boredom, his untrimmed beard hides a much younger face than you originally thought. What did the officials tell you? I expect not that much. No soul governed these lands. Well, those are city soldiers. Those are city soldiers. We can share with them what the city tells us. They're from the city. We'll have the same allegiances. I share what I consider to be relevant. You tell soldiers how little guidance you received. Since the area is too far away from Havlevan to keep it under control, you were warned that it's untamed and unknown. Who knows how many villages, bandits, or monsters may be found in these unmapped hills and forests. From time to time, new people come here to look for boundless opportunity. Most of them never return. Do they turn into walking corpses, or do they find what they're looking for? No soul could tell me, so I was looking for guidance. The lieutenant drinks from her cup and crosses her legs, ankle on knee. Seeing her chair makes you doubt she'll ever find a comfortable position. Where should we start? We want information. Hey, the Femic Warrior, you started KCD 1. Ooh, Kingdom Come Deliverance 1. Okay, if there's one, what I write so far. If there's one piece of advice I can give you to make the game actually playable, it's to do the main mission until you learn how to fight. And by that I mean you don't know when it happens, but you should do the main mission until your character gets taught how to fight. Otherwise, you're gonna have a pretty bad time exploring the open world when your character literally canonically does not know how to fight. That's the one key piece of advice I can give you to make the game more enjoyable. Apart from that, have fun. Anyway, back to Roadwarden. Where should we start? Let's give me information about this area, the peninsula. I'll tell you what I know, and you'll be the judge, says the lieutenant. How long did it take you to get here from the city? On a decent palfrey, I guess it would be 3-4 days? When you confirm, she continues. From here you can reach the coast in about a day, as long as you don't make any stops. Do you know the situation? Why no ships can get here? You nod. The sea route allows Havlevan officials to keep in touch with the coastal villages, collect taxes, move the soldiers, collect the lumber, deliver tools. But maintaining order on a wild coast, such as this one, is like filling the ocean depths with coins. Because of the rocks, you can hardly stop a ship 5 miles from the shore, and boats can get much closer. She nods. I don't know much about fishing, but there's not that many people living by the shore, and they don't crave to stay in the touch with city folk. As she pauses, her companion carries on. No soul from the north ever came to the camp, but when we travel to the roadside inn, Pell to the north, they're happy to trade and play dice. What about the actual cities? The man clears his throat. I mean, you know, we're to guard this road. This camp is our post, and well... He turns towards Tulia. She lowers her voice. Don't take it the wrong way, Leto, but are you a devout soul? I can be a city folk who believes in the United Church. I can be... an Order of the Truth monk supporter. I can be from a small village and have our own unique culture. I can be a nature person and be a druid, or a pagan. Or I can be not interested in magical, mystical stuff. Okay, this is like a dual choice, because not only does it determine my religion, but it also determines my upbringing. What kind of character do we want to be? A city folk? Let's be from a small village. I'm from a small village. For me, the freedom of shell, pneuma, and soul are the main virtues of life. My community is unique and independent, and so are its members. I have a place in my fellowship. Oh, I see. She hesitantly looks away. I don't know much about the River of Faith, but I'm sure we're not that different. I'm a Unite myself, she says, with a sort of pride in her voice. She follows the United Church. So, can you explain what's going on? The people here are disquieting. Every few words, she taps the table with her finger. The traditions won't help them negotiate with the officials. Here, she starts to draw lines with her index, as if she's pointing to an invisible map. The peninsula is connected with roads, like a big circle. In the northwest, you'll find a weird village at the bog. It's not exactly pagan, I don't think. And even has a priest who claims to be an eremite, like yourself. They do crazy shit, a companion chips in. They use the dead to cut down the trees and dig soil. Once a site that begged to never return here. Ah, they're necromancers. You've heard such tales as this one since you were a child. If an isolated settlement manages to survive without the city's influence, its customs and traditions grow more alien. Every generation learns how to adapt to the dangerous conditions they have to deal with, and the rustic, pagan traditions muddy the river of faith. The United Church often warns its members about the crazy druids, necromancers, and blood mages, the bringers of doom, the traitors to humankind. So how are the necromancers doing? You can see why we're not eager to go there if you could avoid it. The lieutenant chuckles. Maybe they'll be more welcoming to a road warden. The roads are dangerous, with little to no shelters. People need your help. The man in the shirt turns a bit and points a finger to the northwest. If you're heading into the undead village, you'll get to an inn first, and soon. Tulia nods. Tell to the north is a safe place. You can talk with the innkeeper or the guards and ask them about the road. Do I have archives? Can I have my, like, codex? Aha! I can make notes. Oh wait, we already have notes. Hey, look at that. You need to confirm a note you're editing to save it. Notes are shared across all of your saves. Oh. Okay, so that's a note for my previous save. Save. Message, you can find love or solar shell with me in a new path. Name, leader. Okay, I have a few notes. I have a good memory, so I usually don't take much notes. Glossary. Can we learn about religion a little bit, real quick, the essentials? We'll be looking at the glossary more and more as time goes on. It also fills up a bit more. Let's quickly check... this. Soul, shell, and pneuma. The people of the land see a correlation between magic and breath. They describe all living creatures as empty shells filled with pneuma, the life force sustained by breathing. They believe that creatures who use magic do so because their souls, a unique identity held in their shells, which turns pneuma into something greater. That's why almost the entirety of magic is used through speech and breathing. Thus, all living creatures use pneuma, but only a few are soul carriers, humans and spirits, such as deities of the forests, demons, or ghosts. All these ideas are in some way lacking when they are confronted with reality. Some believe that dragons, goblins, beast folks, or howlers possess a soul, while others distinguish between souls of higher or lower rank. It's not clear why some humans can cast spells by gesture alone, or why animals don't rise as the undead, or why small numbers of humans can't use magic at all, while the others have unusual talent. The various views and interpretation are not just a part of an advanced theological debate, but also shape the stories and laws. Rice churches don't consider magic to be different from any other human activity, while minor religions believe that it's either an essential part of nature or divine domain. Yeah, so in this world, magic is like being a carpenter. You do magic, oh cool. But there's also religion, which has miracles, which are not magic, but like divine stuff. A bit complicated, but whatever. That's the debate. Because they use these words, they use soul, shell, and pneuma. They use it all the time in speech, so it's good to learn right now. Anything else? We can learn about this later, I think. Roadwardens. They use many titles, but they are essentially travelers who patrol selected routes or roam about an entire province under expensive palfreys. While some of them are simple mercenaries hired on a long-term contract by village mayors, most Roadwardens get paid directly by the city officials, recruited among army veterans or trusted allies. Their duties include dealing with human corpses that can be found on the roads, deliver messages and protect travelers, especially merchants. They may also be required to learn the basics of the city laws and serve as judges to distance troubled communities. Even though the salary is high, they often look for bounties, participate in commerce, or simply loot the unfortunate deceased in the middle of nowhere. A Roadwarden may retire quite early, though the job is extremely dangerous, and as a result also very respectable. There are also self-proclaimed Roadwardens. It's just ex-soldiers, mercenaries, or trophy hunters who didn't get the job or decided to work outside the boundaries of the law. Some of them have noble intentions of helping others live in peace and safety, though most often they're more like roaming bounty hunters. And can I get one more key detail about the undead? Plague, traveling, curses, necromancy. Maybe that's not what I'm looking for. Because people get... If you leave a human corpse outside for too long, it becomes an undead, just naturally. Awakening an empty human shell with magic is forbidden by rites, churches, and difficult to encounter in the cities, though more common in the distant villages, especially among the pagans. The undead are used as free workforce, substituting slaves, mules, cart horses, field workers, warriors, or hunters. The undead controlled by a necromancer are obedient, but once their owner loses consciousness, outside of falling asleep, or dies, the corpses they can control are set free and filled with a desire to murder as many humans as they can for the rest of eternity and feast on their blood. As a result, overly ambitious necromancers are condemned by the community. Okay, that's some essential backstory to know about, because they use these words all the time in this universe. We'll learn more once it comes up. Anyway, how about the east? East of the peninsula. She stares off across the camp. Hard to tell, we went there only once. There are hills, forests, rivers. We saw a tunnel sculpted in leaves and branches, but we didn't enter it. Wilderness all around. Any monsters? We saw all sorts of beasts, the man started counting his fingers. Goblins, tree ants, cats large and small, runners, howlers, wolves, spiked boars, mouflon eaters, griffins. But we managed to stay away. Some could catch up to with you most mounts. Tulia glances at her companion, though a palfrey should be fine. The trees are so tall that the flying creatures keep to the coast and mountains. There's not that many humans around, and the animals are busy fighting among themselves. They fight more for food and territory. The soldier cracks his knuckle. Don't provoke them and ride fast. Just count on your luck. Let me see if I can read a bit about these monsters. Bestiary. Goblins. We saw them yesterday with Windy Meadow. But let's see what this glossary has many more terms than what we had back in Windy Meadow. It's much more detailed. These free critters can move on both legs or on all four, and while they resemble apes, they spend most of the time on the ground, capable of hunting their prey and seeking new temporal shelters. Many people, both in the monasteries of the Order of Truth and in the marketplace, argue how smart a goblin can really get. It's clear that they can fight with a pointed stick or pick up an abandoned sword, but it looks like they can't even start their own fire, nor speak. Nevertheless, some people call their lairs camps. You also talked about tree ants. They are tall creatures with thick, hard skin, exceptional patience. They're slow, but thanks to their camouflage, every now and then they can hit and knock out smaller creatures that devour them whole. Since they don't have leaves, they usually grow among wetlands or hills, where they resemble plants that struggle with those harsh conditions. But it's not a rule. Wolves? These four-legged critters are among the most feared hunters in the wilderness, though they are not as interested in human flesh as the large cats, and tend to hunt for strong adult humans, only if they're on the verge of starvation. The largest of them are solitary, competing with other beasts over the biggest game and carcasses, while the smaller ones demonstrate uncanny intelligence and group in packs to defeat creatures they can't take down without assistance. Anything else we heard about? Undead? That's what I wanted to know. Any breathless human shell touched by a fog or by a spell of a necromancer wakes up as a bloodthirsty beast. They seek pneuma to grow stronger, maybe waiting for other foggy days or by collecting it from the dead. The more magic fills their new form, the greater their intellect and capabilities. They start using weapons, mechanisms, tools, even magic, and start to use human-like speech. Anything else he talked about? Large cats? While the smaller wild cats are too afraid of humans to attack them, the larger species are among the strongest and most successful hunters living in the north. Strong and heavy enough to kill a boar with a single strike, but also able to remain so silent and patient that most people won't even spot them in the taller meadows. Their skins are usually turned into expensive pelts. They're not valued for their meat, nor their bones, but some people value the jewelry and clothing made of their claws and tusks. Yet believe they bring bad luck to those who live close to the wilderness. Because of that, they're usually worn by the richest of merchants. Howlers, he talked about that. Howlers are monkeys with strong limbs and tails, though still not as dangerous as apes. Exuat, what am I doing? Amazing! We're playing one of my favorite games of all time that I get to share with all of you guys. I'm hoping you guys also like it. We played Windy Meadow yesterday, and I don't think it was as good as this game, even though they're set in the same universe. So let's have some fun. Let's go Howlers and Griffin and then go back. Howlers are monkeys of strong limbs and tails, though still not as dangerous as apes. Instead of using weapons, they fill it. Wait, apes can use weapons? Okay, later. Instead of using weapons, they fill the territory with otherworldly calls that are harmful to most creatures, including humans. Text-based RPG, yes. Text-based RPG with very, very interesting resource management that makes your choices very impactful. Howlers, while their furs are often seen as beautiful, they don't have impressive claws or teeth, and their meat is seen as unsavory. Still, the Book of the Rites Churches mentions a few grand battles over land between howlers and humans. Let's check out apes, because they talk about apes using weapons. The limbs and tails of these fur critters have an uncanny strength, a result of the time they spend swinging from branch and climbing, doing their best to avoid a terrestrial predator. Unlike goblins, they rarely attack humans and don't use weapons. Oh, but can savagely defend the territory to the point of participating in lasting wars with other packs, or even with human settlements. Some tribes hunt them for meat, but these beasts are still hardly understood, and many tales describe them unusual powers and abilities. The communities that distinct apes from monkeys usually describe the former as larger ones with broader chests, and the latter as a smaller creature, but these labels don't always match the reality. And then one last one, griffins, because that's what the soldiers told us they saw. The scrub griffins are four-legged omnivore, larger than a fox, that merge features of furry critters and birds. The front part of their shells are covered with vivid feathers, while the rear are darker furs. Their wings seem fairly massive, making them impressive jumpers, but they're too heavy to fly. The noble ones are rare and especially valued in villages across the Dragonwoods. They can be as large as a horse and taught to protect homes, as long as they're well fed. One of the farmers back in Windy Meadow had a griffin farm. Okay, back to the game. Let's see, runners. We didn't check runners. Can we check that? Is that a thing? I didn't see it. Journal? Bestiary? Runners. Runners. These birds are usually larger and taller than humans, but there's not that many of them. Like all birds, they move on 2 legs, but their wings are very short, and it's anyone's guess what their actual purpose is. Travelers often encounter these creatures near the roads, but they also do well in the woods. Their beaks are as large as a human head, and their strong neck allows them to easily get through their prey's skin. An unarmed soul would never be able to hurt one of them, but blades, especially those made of steel, pierce them easily. They're like ostriches, but like demon ostriches. Anyway, don't provoke them and ride fast, and count on your luck. What happened to you guys? You were 8, now you're only 2 left. The man shrugged. Bandits happened, and monsters. A strong band, though, his companion chips in. When we got to the peninsula in spring, we saw some people living in this camp. The lieutenant decided to avoid it and look for an inn. We had to travel to the night for a bit. The soldier scoffs and crosses his arm, but she carries on. If he had decided otherwise, we would have all died that day. The innkeeper explained that the camp is a trap, that the armed ones pretend to be soldiers. Stay here the night, lose everything you have. Like slave hunters. Julia sighs. Very much so, they killed some and took others away. Who knows where? They were letting the northerners go, hoping to avoid their wrath. It kind of worked. We asked them for help, but they refused. We had to clear the entire camp on our own, and that's why three of our people died. Don't exaggerate, it sounded like the lieutenant didn't make a mistake. We wanted to get rid of them and take over their camp, but we didn't know our enemy well enough. We were outnumbered, and they had an ice mage among them. At least we cleared the road, saved lives. Monsters? Nothing that would surprise you. Those of us who survived the skirmish were young, too inexperienced to spend a summer in this place without a good leader, and they didn't trust me. One of them got caught by a tree ant. Another one ignored my orders to perform some sort of ritual hunt, so a werebear tore her to pieces. The last one tried to act tough, didn't tell us that he had a cut on his hand while cleaning his gambeson. We had to cut it off, and she was so ashamed that he had to walk north. Find a new life, disappear. Idiot. What a colorful journey! The man tries to drink from his mug, but it's empty. You guys did okay. Barely. And who knows if it was worth the lives and effort. What's your mission? The lieutenant looks into your eyes. You know, the usual, making the road safe, keeping people alive. Do you have like a special mission? I can't really tell you. Do you have any other questions? He doesn't trust me enough to tell her about the squad's mission. Is this camp important? The story is brief. Some merchant built a camp to have an extra stop for mules and donkeys, just between the inn and the southern villages. There's plenty of grass here and a pond nearby. When the peninsula grew more dangerous, the camp stood abandoned, from time to time serving as shelter for travelers. The bandits came here in spring, further paralyzing the exchange of information between the northern and southern settlements. Since these highwaymen are no more, the situation may reverse. Time will tell. You can sleep here whenever you want, so don't expect to wake up without pain in your back. What about the lieutenant thing? That's not much of a story, honestly. In the city, there's a strict order of what should I call it. She exchanged looks with her companion, but he can't help her. Leadership succession, I guess. Havlovans chiefs select commanders, those select lieutenants, and those put their soldiers in order of priority. If the lieutenant died, they get replaced by the next soldier. So you're a successor? Nah, not exactly. When we found the bandits, our lieutenant was hit by a slingshot. His boyfriend jumped to help him, but failed to protect either of them from a spell. It was like a ball of ice that hung above them and exploded, piercing their heads, completely avoiding their shields. Really unpleasant. And you were the third one? Basically, yeah. I didn't plan to become leader, though. I'll get demoted once we return to the city. I prefer to follow anyway. Where would you guys go? The soldier answers quickly. To the inn, of course, because empty mug. The one northwest of here. If you can't afford a room, the main halls is free of charge. The locals rarely gather here. The northern road is much more traveled, mentioned Sula, but the hunters will tell you about this and that, and you'll have the chance to introduce yourself to the innkeeper. You can listen and knows many souls. Anything how to make a good impression? Avoid cheap jokes. Stay to trade. Don't waste his time. Show him that you can be relied on. Okay, don't waste his time. Don't make jokes. Got it. I wanted to do lots of jokes, but if it's not, I'm not gonna do a joke if I know in advance that it's gonna hurt us. Any ideas what happened to the previous Roadwarden? Tula takes a deep breath. Aren't you a bit late for a rescue mission? We haven't heard from him for almost half a year. The soldier speaks a bit between themselves, trying to get their story straight. They confirm that they have stopped by their camp a few times, but stopped showing up at all in early summer. The bearded soldier starts to scratch the table with the tip of his knife, without looking at you. I don't remember his voice, always busy, drowning in things to take care of. He would sit somewhere, sharpen his sword, fix his loud mail, clean clothes, write notes on that wax tablet of his. Yep, and leave at dawn. Oh, he knew how to write. Leave at dawn, Agnes? Asteria never gets bored. Tyr lets out a joyless chuckle. He's secretive, but some of the locals speak about him warmly. Maybe he just doesn't like us. It's like you're not sure if he's dead or not. If anyone knows, they won't tell us. Maybe someone is keeping him in this basement. The man carves with passion. We haven't seen him, or his Saurian. Something ate them, I bet. The officials have hired you, right? They don't expect him to return. Richer Roadwardens often use four-legged, meat-eating Saurians as their mounts. They have to be tamed and trained since they're hatching, but unlike horses, they can easily defend themselves from many monsters. On the other hand, they enjoy attacking nearby targets a bit too much. Do you know what he was looking for? Neither of us had any insight in his dealings. My predecessor left me no clue. We also took a look at Asterian's stuff. Wait, I almost forgot. She stands up and heads to a nearby tent. He has kids in the village near Hovlevan. I was planning to take all his things there. A pouch, a second spear, a decent bow, some potions. Quite a treasure. She glances at you, but I would much prefer bring them the truth about their father. Do you want me to find out what happened to them in exchange for this stuff? Here's the catch. She dusts off the hilt of her sword. We've hired a messenger to ask the commander for further orders. Since she hasn't returned and you know nothing about her, she either ran away or something happened to her. We are meant to stay here until the fall. What do you think? Come see us, tell us what you've learned about the man, and we'll get back to Hovlevan together? You think about your real mission. You're planning to return to Hovlevan in the early fall anyway. If he's alive, I don't think he's going to be happy about me taking his stuff. True, but he's considered dead. I doubt he'd begrudge you anything. And who knows, you may find his shell lying on the roadside tomorrow. He wears mail, uses a spear mostly. Maybe 5 feet tall, but stout. Long red beard, short hair, pale face, rarely smiles. She glances at her companion, but after he adds nothing, she sits down and stretches her legs. So find out what happened to him. Dead, alive, left, just let me know. Now we have our first quest. Find the Roadwarden. For his stuff. Oh. And last thing, I lost my rope. Give me one, please. You're in luck. She heads towards one of the crates and moves aside a large linen sack, revealing a rope. She brings it back and nonchalantly sits down the chair. Take it. I was planning to leave it behind. I take a closer look. A fine rope. Well, I'm not gonna... I mean, if it's for free, I'm gonna... Well... If I give them some food, they might trust me a bit more so she can tell me about her squad's mission. Offer some food. Tudor leans forward and rests her forearms on her thighs, looking down with clasped hand and meets your eye. I'd normally refuse, but we need some decent food. Every day I'm searching through our growths, looking for worms and putridity. We forage, but it's not a great spot. Some food rations will brighten up a foggy day. About your mission? I can't really tell you. Let's just say it would be nice to have a reliable outpost somewhere nearby. A place where you can always find a group of fighters willing to protect you in the name of the law. So they're here to establish some city connection, I guess. To bring city law, or something like that. It's getting late. We should prepare for the night. I agree. Tulia sighs with relief. And you may do better than Asterion did. Stay vigilant. She winks at you, shattering the mask of a soldier. I can open this to reveal my text. Thank you for the help. One more thing, if I can. The bearded man approaches you. Can you take the first watch? Spending time between 3 people makes a great difference. You think for a moment, to fully rest, you need a good sleep. We've been riding for 4 days. I'm exhausted. He nods, but the spark in his eyes wears off. I better put on my armor. He walks past you, heading into his tent by the southern gate. I mean, we already got the information from earning their trust with trading the food. And we have a long day ahead of us. You go to the barrel and splash water. Wait, I didn't read that last thing. What was it? I go to my mount. Yeah, that's all. You go to the barrel and splash water on your face, which makes you even more aware of how much you need a bath. After the night, it'll only get worse. Your horse is already napping, still too anxious to lay down. Stay tidy to have a better chance to influence others. I look for a place protected from wind. I use my bag as a pillow, put my blanket on the ground, and cover myself with my cloak. You aren't used to sleeping in such harsh conditions, but it's better than nothing. The weather is gentle, maybe you won't catch a cold. The stars instantly inspire your dreams, both with their splendor and by making you look for patterns and shapes among them. Your job starts tomorrow. My real goal for this journey. The Merchant Guild wants to take the control of this realm. Your warding duties are secondary. First and foremost, you need to explore the peninsula, learn about the territory, resources, and threats. Get to know the locals, and if you can, convince them to consider negotiation with Hovleven officials and traders. Could the tribes resist the soldiers, or be a threat to the priests of the United Church? Are there any forbidden practices that need to be eradicated, such as blood magic, necromancy, robbery, or slavery? At least I have time. 40 days to be exact. I need to be as thorough as I can. Once you finish your reconnaissance, you should speak with Tulia and return to Hovleven. They report back to your employers and get your reward. In the meantime, you have your own goal to pursue. Ah, our own personal goal. So in my last playthrough, I was a mage looking to be a hero, and that was an amazing story and great for influencing my roleplay. This time I want to be a fighter who needs to make money to save their sibling from debt collectors. Yeah, that's an interesting story. Interesting character. So you now have a motivation. Gather wealth. Your half-asleep senses are catching the sound of the wild forest. Your instincts keep you alert and anxious, though the pleasant, humid, late summer air evens it out slowly. You're thinking about your goal, but you need to gather your strength. What is our actual goal? Gather wealth. I need to gather enough dragon bones to save my sibling from debt collectors, and 100 coins will be a good start. I can also look for an expensive treasure, something that's going to sell well in Hovleven. Okay, so we're looking for treasure or 100 coins. That's a good start. And 100 coins is a lot of money. It's a stupid amount of money. Sleeping on the ground. Your blanket won't be much of a bed and the palisade barely covers you from the wind. Sleeping here will be severely uncomfortable. We'll be hungry and we'll lose a bit of vitality. You're surrounded by sunlight. Your back begs you to stand back up. 14 hours, day 1. It's time to start. Before you fully wake up, you smell a roast. No, burning meat. Burning, rotten meat. Disgust crawls towards your consciousness. You stand up. Normally you would dust off your cape and blanket, but your instincts are stronger than your routine. Your horse is looking around nervously. Your bags are where you had left them. You see an open gate. Let's see what's happening. Both soldiers are standing near a humble pyre. The man in the shirt looks at it contemplatively. Tulia is the first one to address you. Leto. She greets you with a nod. We use the horse's manure for the flames, so don't worry about cleaning it up. You see a corpse among the flames, but it's possible to tell if it belonged to a male or female, but it was an adult. The breeding process won't be over for a couple hours. A traveler or an undead? The latter, a young one. She lacked the pneuma to understand that she couldn't get inside the camp without climbing. I stabbed her with a spear from a safe distance. She says her weight. Wanted more fog and she'd be a real threat. Even now I took a couple of hits to knock her down. Sooner or later, every human shell wakes up gaining more strength with each soul it devours, and each moment it spends in the fogs. Burning the dead is not just a religious practice, it's a necessity. Soldiers, priests, village mayors, even road wardens. Making a large pyre takes a lot of time, but it saves lives. Huda calls this undead a she. Most unites would hesitate to do so. Running away for the reek, huh? I don't blame you. She walks with you for a few steps. Find us here if you need us, or if you learn what happened to Asterion. There's enough ground here for your rest. Safe travels. These words make you stop. An old farewell, marked the number of songs and tales. But you hear no scorn in Tulia's voice. You wonder how many acts of kindness like this one you're going to experience in the days to follow. She returns to the pyre, and we prepare ourselves for the journey. You gather your equipment, and spend half an hour... It's been half an hour. Spend half an hour warming up and preparing your mount, double-checking the buckle straps. You put on your gambeson and make sure that your axe is tightly attached to your belt to get the saddle. It's time for you to get to the crossroads north of here. So it's time to travel. We're going to be traveling all around the map. This is a very important mechanic because traveling takes time. And when you're out of time, you have to be at the shelter or you'll get hurt. A lot. Travel north. Even at a later hour, you wouldn't expect to meet any travelers in this valley. The warm summer breeze lures your mount forward, but the serene chirping of birds is quickly replaced by the distracting screech and gurgles coming from further down the path. You soon find a pack of four-legged griffins. They're larger than foxes and merge the features of birds and feared beasts. Each one is of a different size, coat, and color, and the temperaments are just as varied. Their fronts are covered with vivid feathers, while their rears have darker fur. Their wings are massive, making them impressive jumpers, but they are too heavy to fly. About 24 beasts are yelling, brawling, and chasing each other around, blocking your path. I consider my options. You can't enter the forest blindly. If these or other creatures were to chase after you, the ticket would be disastrous for your horse. There are reasons why travelers stay close to the main road as possible, and why adventurers move in groups. Usually the safest approach would be to stay where you are and just wait for the pack to get hungry. It may however take up a couple hours. Think about your conversation with Tulia. You got a lot to do and time may be of the essence. So we have a dice. When the dice is here, it means that there's a chance that it fails. If you have any vitality points, you can use the warrior's training to access unique interactions. Oh, I can just push through? Does it cost me vitality? Push through. Initially, your horse completely trusts your guidance, though after a few more steps, it snorts. You prepare your axe and get ready to push out any griffins waiting to jump on you. Once you get in the middle of the surprise herd, your mount squeals and gallops forward. The creatures in front of you flee, but others start to jump at you. You kick at them 2 away while the third one gets close. Its beak lands only on your boot. The hard leather keeps you safe. You ride away and the griffins can't keep up. You still hear their screeches when your mount slows down. I'll give them an opportunity to catch up with me. Let's keep going. Have an achievement? Okay. I'm a fighter. The road splits. According to what the soldiers have told you, you may find a safe inn by turning left. The forest to the right is lush, and the trail is overgrown. Kids used to have this song. How did it go? The harshest pathway leads to the dragon's lair. Those who search treasure do truly dare? The signpost in front of you doesn't make your situation much clearer. It was put here by someone who can't write, for folks who can't read. Covered in old red paint, it points east. Blood there, yes, people say. Danger to be found. There's not a soul to ask for guidance. I look at my horse. What is this name? So we would be the one who has named the horse, right? Or maybe the person we bought it for. How about? We want something simple again. Rose? Rose is focused. Maybe it can't help you choose a path, but it's well trained. As long as you don't try to charge a troll, you can count on it. You spot a few berry shrubs and wild cabbages, but they still need at least 2 weeks to gain maturity. You have to choose direction. Let's check out our character sheet. Letter of the Roadwarden. After years of training to become a fighter, to gather enough dragons, bones, and my siblings from dead collectors. Force. Advanced training. You have an advantage in physical interactions that involve random chance. Vitality, nourishment, appearance. Combat experience, slight. I thought we would have more. The more we fight, the more combat experience we have. The more combat experience we have, the easier a fight gets. So it's, you know, it's a bit hard. Spirit animals. Religion, Eremite, a member of the Fellowship. You pray to the right and follow the River of Freedom. You're a small village and you believe that freedom of shell, Numa, and soul are the main virtues of life. Faith, undetermined. The strength of my religious conviction. Lies, none yet. The more lies you tell, the better at lying you are. Sewing, gambling. To the left is going to be the inn, to the right is going to be nothing, basically. How much time do we have? A lot. We can go to the inn and then pass the inn. To the left. Rose trots with ease, unbothered by the few branches covering the beaten road. The bird songs and distant howls draw your attention to the forest, which gets sparser and brighter. You spot boars, roe deer, and saurians. The sight of a nearby wolf pack worries you, but once you push your hips forward and your palfrey enters the canter, the beasts don't even begin a pursuit. The speed alone will protect you from many dangers. It is a stone tower taller than the trees. It must be the inn. Can't I hide the text if I know there's a way for me to hide this text so I can see it in full picture. It is like this one fit the regions traveled by merchants, but you wouldn't expect a place of this size in a Forsaken peninsula. The stone and lumber must have been transported from far away, and the workers, guarded by expensive mercenaries, surely lived for supplies. You just noticed? Ooh, what is it? It's still early in the game. Yes! We've gone to 3 locations. Very early in the game. But at least we're past the tutorial, so now we can actually, you know, play the game. Expensive mercenaries surely lived for many seasons in a primitive hamlet, subsisting on salted supplies. There are seemingly no cracks in the walls, and the building was whitewashed only a few years back. seems that the menu can be. But visually, wait. Let me see that comment in full. Though some of the menu can be worked better, but it's visually decent. I see what you mean. Is it when you have to flick through all these tabs, it gets confusing. But thankfully, we don't have to do that often. So inns had to be expensive. There's seemingly no cracks in the wall, and the building was whitewashed only a few years back. The road is wide and beaten. Dozens of souls could hide if not in the buildings, then at least in the yard. The expenses and labor put in this fortress were worth many trading ships. 3 armed people on the ramparts, though you only see what's above the waistline. They're leaning on the parapet, right next to the gate, and you think you notice a glimpse of a smile. They were gambesons, each one of them died differently, yellow, green, and linen gray. Let's approach. The UI/UX, yeah. I think it's these little menus in the upper right. That's the quote-unquote worst part. Because those are like essential, those are actions. Wait, map, sleep, those are actions. Inventory, you can take actions in there. Character, not really. Oh, I see what you mean. Up. And then the archive and journal. Those are better, I think. Easier to keep track of. Approach the gate. A woman in yellow armor leans forward. She has long, curly, disorderly red hair, pointing in every possible direction. This combination of color doesn't work at all. In the woods, one would have to shout to draw this much attention. There's still a fair distance between the two of you, but she speaks loudly. I ain't seen a horse for years now. I just said it's weird to see such a large jackass, huh? Her voice is young and strong, with an accent that reminds you of the villages that are spread around Hovleven. But no jackass would wear a saddle, I'd say. She exchanges a few words with the male guard, wearing green, giving you time to move closer. Well, this one here says there really are donkey saddles. Say, traveler, how hard is it to ride a horse? How about you give it a try? You can make a joke. Don't answer her. Open the gate. Quite hard. Some days, well, it would be hard to ride a horse for a long time. It's a text-based RPG, so it looks like it won't be top of the line. This information is actually crucial. It's very, very important information. Because this gives context to your choices. Like right now I'm kind of starving. We should take a break. We're kind of tired. We're dirty. It's all very important information for our choices that are going to be coming up all throughout the game. I laugh. You wouldn't believe it. The lessons were a pain. You get off your horse and imitated a city walk from the day that you followed your first long journey, when your whole shell was crying. You illustrate the pain as you move your hand from your back to hips, then thighs. You return the guards tell you about that time when they had to carry their friend with bitten off legs for 3 days straight to the heart of the woods. Meanwhile, the other guard opened the gates. You may be in a good mood, the woman in the yellow jacket smiles. But don't get so noisy when you talk to our boss. The man never smiles. He has the world suffering sculpted on his face. She leads you under the roof, under which your palfrey can rest, tethered with a cord to a wooden post near some old hay. Once you're ready, go inside, speak with our boss. Maybe you're hungry? I am hungry. The other guards take care of various chores. They peek at your mouth every now and then as if they're splitting firewood, cleaning their clothes, weeding their garden patches, and moving chairs. 2 of them are making a rope. You head towards the inn, hearing the piercing scream of a boar from the other side of the yard. Open the door. If you're in an inn in the morning, you can spend the entire day resting. I'm not going to do that, we're on a time limit, and every hour counts. I mean, some days, if we get like really beat up, or like actually near death, we should spend the day resting, but usually you don't do that. The locked windows make their air stuffy, and the weak fire on the stove hardly lightens up the hall. A muscular man is sweeping the floor near the stairs, but after he glances at you, he leans the broom against the wall and heads to behind the counter. You're lucky to show up. His voice is deep and soft, with a city-like accent. He observes you with a keen attention, yet avoids your eyes. Have a keg of decent ale? Wormwood, bog myrtle, juniper berries, calf's foot. He fills the mug carefully and puts it on the countertop. It's going to spoil soon today, maybe, and we don't drink here before the even. I hate the good stuff going to waste. His skin is dark, almost purple, rare even among the southern tribes, and his hair is naturally bluish. Blue hair, purple skin. We should read about the north and the south in a bit. His clothes are quite fancy for manual labor. The elegant tunic wouldn't stand out in the city square. I stand at the counter. The planks let out a creak every step you make, so you slow down a bit. You could swear that the innkeeper made little to no noise. Here you go. He pushes the mug forward. But just so you know, my pal to the north doesn't belong to Havlevan. You can sleep on the floor if you wish, but if you want a bed or a meal, you'd have to pay. You may have some leftovers for dinner, but I need to check. He wanted us. We were warned to not be playful or jokey with him. Introduce myself. He needs to be direct to business. Maybe this can work. I'm not here to pay compliments to piss in a mug. I'm a Roadwarden and I'm looking for answers. And that'd be distance. I won't stay here long. I introduce myself. He nods and fills another mug, this time with water. I guess there's no point in waiting for Asterion then. I'm glad to see someone's taking his place. Even my crew here hits the road only if they need to see the healers in the Howler's Dell. And they're more than resourceful. A Roadwarden always is going to find work here in the north. Though maybe not on the eastern road. He takes a mouthful of water and drinks it with a pleased sigh. There are no guests here this time, or hardly ever. I can take a short break. A brief moment you meets your eye. Drink. Dark room and wooden walls of the mug make the liquid look as brown as chestnut. The lean spring hits your nose, and the first sip is even too complex, too flowery. While the brewer has used fancy ingredients, the exotic licorice ruins the aftertaste. Now you know why there's so much left. Maybe it takes an acquired taste. The innkeeper nods. I was hoping to meet someone willing to patrol the roads. Maybe you'll help me with a worrying thought I have. There are brigands in the woods. Our place is a stronghold, so I'm not afraid of an open strike, but they've gotten more active in the last 2 years. One day they may steal our furs, and I have no doubt that they're a reason why merchants come here only once. Having bandits around gets expensive. He rubs his hands together, camouflaging his paws. I want you to reach Howler's Dell, northwest of here. It's the largest settlement around. I'm sure you'll get there sooner or later. Ask Thais, the mayor, about Glacia, the bloodthirsty wolf of a woman. I've heard rumors about a raid in the north. If Glacia is ready to break the truce with the locals, I'm going to join forces with them to get rid of the band. Here's the nearby dragon bone. Not too difficult, right? Just do it when you have a chance. A couple of days won't make much of a difference. I'll pay you 2 coins when you get back with the news. Fine? More. 3. He nods with a smile. What else do you need? That was easy. Maybe because we made a good impression on him. Do you have leftovers? Yes, I feed them to our boar. I won't give them away for nothing. He tells you to wait, then leaves the building for a few minutes and he returns with a wooden bucket and a long stick ending with a hook. Go through the gates and turn left. You'll see a bunch of bushes. We need some berries. Bring me a bucket full. It'll be done in half an hour or so. Your horse could use a nap anyway. I'll prepare something to fill you. The hook is not made of metal or wood. It's a long, curved claw, almost black. Half an hour for berry picking. The tools are cold, but not too heavy. You'll need a pair of thick gloves at the bottom of the bucket. Ah, the berries are not a problem, the innkeeper sneak. Unlike the snakes. Better scare them away with a stick, or move them with your hook. And put it in your hands. The little ones won't eat you, but don't get bitten. I'm sure you know how to be patient. Well, we are kind of starving, so let's go ahead and do that. So we can get some leftovers. You step outside, Rose is pounding the ground. You hear the clinking of tools coming from the armorer's workshop. Maybe I can ask the guards for tips before I go there? The woman in yellow armor is kneeling next to a brown, hairy boar while resting on his side. The beast is not as large as the dark one from the forest. It responds to the touch of the human hand and brush with grateful grunting and rapid twitches of a hind hoof. No matter how friendly it appears, it's still tended to well, and you have no doubt that the discharge would leave Rose dead in a breath. When the woman notices you, she steps forward to the boar's disappointment. So, the new Roadwarden. She points at the window with her chin, forcing the question. We don't need anything now, but when we travel with our furs, we could use some assistance. She may be around 30, but her warm voice and bright smile are camouflaging the touch of time on her unpowdered face. Like many red-haired people with freckles, her skin is unhealthily pale. I guess that's a way of describing a skin color. The boar runs up to her, observing your boots and fruitlessly sniffing for food beneath the beaten ground. She pats its back, but maintains her focus. How about a game or two? We have a bit of time and we can talk about this and that. Maybe you'll get a couple of coins, or lose one. You could play dice or throw axes. Hey, I have training in axe throwing. Your rival, and especially the dragon bone you pull out, are cheerfully welcomed. The guards prepare a couple of wooden planks, which are leaned against the wall. There are spectators, and you're told that the under-hunters are either sleeping or have duties on the tower. Remember, no magic, says one of the players. His face is deadly serious. There's going to be 4 participants and 8 rounds. You aim at the target drawn with charcoal. The person whose axe lands close to the center of the circle gets a point. Axes that fail to stay in the plank don't count. So you have to embed the axe. Throw hard enough. The person who has the most points at the end of this last turn becomes the winner. Let's blend in. You talk a lot, but you don't say much. You share casual jokes, memories and views on luck and adaptable strategies. Rose and Tullius camps are also brought up. But when you ask about the roads or the locals, their stories get vague. The drinks are here. It's a pour beer made from leftovers after the regular brewing. It's cold, sweet, and doesn't reach your head. But you try to avoid the smell. Just don't spill anything the boar may get sick, said the opponent with one arm. As a guess, you start with the first throw. Your axe flies well, hitting the very middle of the painted target and piercing the plank with a pleasant thud, which makes it really difficult for the others to outperform you. A minute later, you've won the first round, but you can't expect to be lucky every time. Let's use our warrior training. I've trained axe throwing for years, I've got this. Ooh, money! So getting from the 4th point, the other players nod with respect. Quite a score you hear from the guard in yellow armor, as she hands you your dragon bones. The other participants carry away the remaining planks. Alright, well that's a good start. Oh yeah, the innkeeper asked me to forage for berries. She chuckles. Oh, don't worry about it. Usually we forage by ourselves, but we wouldn't ask you for a dragon. But he wouldn't ask you for a dragon. He wouldn't ask you for a dragon for a meal. He gives small jobs to people all the time, just to see who agrees to do them. Wants to judge who's use and who's too proud for their own good. If you agreed, you should be sure to get those berries today. And don't try to take his tools away. He hates thieves. Good tips. About yourself? Oh, what was that? After a brief giggle, her voice gets cold and serious. Nah, Roadwarden. We use names and stories among friends. You ain't one. Don't make me tempt curses. Okay, can you tell me about this place? Not much to tell. Are we? Is time passing? Yeah, a little. Not much to tell, honestly. There are many beasts around, both wild game and dangerous monsters. We spend our time surrounded by these walls, leaving only to hunt, forage, or trade. Okay, that's all I have to ask for. Any interesting creatures? Ah, here? Everything lives here. She flips her hair. I swear, we saw a few dragons, a unicorn family, a battle between trolls and goblins, faced 2 beastmen, and a gargoyle, and a hunting queen shots all the time. I could tell you all about them, but I won't. She winks and passes the boar on his head. You know, hunters have their secrets. Let's read about those. Dragons, unicorns, bestiary, beast folk. Many believe that talking about beast folk brings bad luck. It's difficult to even judge if there's such a thing as a pure specimen. Each one of them is partially resembles another animal. A boar, a wildcat, bear, owl, lizards. It no matter if they have long tails, fangs, tusks, claws, or antlers, they're always bipedal and capable of working together. Packs. Others call them tribes. These mysterious creatures show up all across the realm, hunting for animals as well as travelers, but it's not clear how smart they actually are. They don't use weapons, nor speak. They seem to partially understand human behavior. Even the Wright's tablets describe a woman who used to trade with beastfolk before they ate her. The smallest beastfolk, usually with wolf-like heads, are known as gnolls, while trading in large numbers and small groups don't present a problem for a skilled, confident fighter. Dragons? Dragons' size and the danger they present is beyond the understanding of humans. Some of them move on 4 limbs and devour leaves all day long. Some are bipedals and walk in the wilderness hunting for other monstrosities. Others fly on their massive wings, and others have even magical powers. Dragon hides and trophies are one of the most valuable and rare crafting resources on the land, and their bones either cut into small disc-like coins, dragon bones, or turn into weapons, armors, and tools. Gargoyles. While capable of flying, these large predators spend most of their time on the ground, using their dexterous paws to set up spots where they stand still, even for days. Such camouflage ambushes are seldom noticed by distracted running prey. Like many other monsters, they hope to avoid combat, aiming to feast quickly, then look for a new hunting spot, ready to starve for weeks at a time. Anything else they mentioned? Hunt lords or a hunt queen? Hunt lords and hunt queens spend their lives trying to take over the land of their opponents, or looking for a promising mate, though only for the time it takes to copulate. They can quickly run, climb, and jump on 4 paws, but are also more confident fighting on their hind limbs. Large and stronger than a bear, they're known to be the perfect killers. Their deafening roar, which cuts through the air whenever they finish their hunt, can be heard every night. Okay, so we have hunt lords around, which are like mega bears, I guess. I think that's all the monsters she mentioned. Oh, unicorns. Wait. Unicorns, go back. Unicorns. These massive beasts covered with thick brown furs are named after the horns sticking out of their skull, often larger than a human shell. Oh, so there's a horn bigger than a human body. They move on 4 legs and So these are gigantic unicorns, like giants. They move on 4 legs in dense forests and open meadows, but since they avoid settlements or even commonly use roads, they are shrouded in mystery, with legends and rumors that often contradict each other. Yet unicorns are among the most feared creatures of the Dragonwoods, infamous for holding a crucial role in the wrath of the herds. They charge in the front, able to get through wooden and most stone walls with a single crash, ignoring the wounds they receive in the process. Their part is then done, other beasts can get inside and not bother with the defenders. Let's read about the wrath of the herds. We heard about it yesterday in Windy Meadows, but let's see what this game has to say about it. Wrath of the herds. Whenever the Northerners interfere greatly with nature in a short time span, by clearing the forests, making roads, creating new fields, killing large amounts of wild game, especially during seasons other than spring, the wild creatures, from rodents to dragons, join forces to remove the threat. The animals just can't get through the walls of the 10 cities, but the state doesn't have the power to just expand its control as it pleases. The dog opened the door, give me a second. Okay. The territorial expansion of the Northerners is extremely slow, and every city has at least 1,000 years of history behind it. This phenomenon does not occur in other parts of the world. Ooh, that sucks. It only happens in the north, huh? I didn't know this part. So the wrath of the herds is only a northern issue. We have more stuff, the tribes and northerners, warfares, the southern cities. Later. There's a tower. That's an unusual tower. It's supposed to be closer to the gate and shorter. Like in Havlevan? Fair. But it ain't here to protect the gates. This stronghold was built long before we moved in, and not to fight off humans. The tower was meant to be used by those who observe in the deep forest. We look out for fires, dragons, and any winged creatures that are looking to roost on the roof. Baldy, she nods towards a man who indeed is completely bald, has a great eye, and sees well even in darkness. You guys have a neat boar near the well? How could you not be? She crouches and raises the boar's head, but it steps away and squeals as someone's murdering it. It came with us from the city, just in case. We had no clue how at first winter would go, so we need some backup meat. And it works. Cleans the dirt. She reaches off with the beast again, but it trots away. Roman straightens up with a pleased sigh. We haven't needed to eat it so far, but it's also funny. I learned in my home village that the farm boars are getting a bit smaller and more cuddly. Kinda like ibexes, so not just as wild, dangerous beasts. But we don't we don't let it get close to other animals or children. What do you guys hunt for? So this is a fort of hunters. With an inn that supports them, I guess. Anything that we can eat or sell. If there's a partridge, a squirrel, or a rat, we don't complain. But when we move as a group, we look for something larger. Deers and aurochs are delicious, but we don't always look for taste alone. There's value in bones, antlers, claws, tusks, things people use to make tools or sculptures. We use some of them to make tools and spears. You can never have enough spears. She pauses and looks at the strand of her hair, then suddenly speaks up again. And we look for furs, of course. Anything about the region? We don't really go to those regions, we stay close to home. We sometimes move south or west to Howler's Dell, but only to trade. They're fine with buying more than they need since they then take wares to the coast. She takes a long breath, twirling her hair and gathering her thoughts. You know what? I've never even seen the beach, and I've been living here for how many? More than 10 years now. The only part of the sea I've ever seen was from Old Pagos, which is a place on the hill. I then put a toe in salt water. She goes towards another huntress who confirms that the experience is the same. But Old Pagos is in a good place. As long as you don't mock their odor and act nice, they'll also be kind. Boss says they're too serious for him to stand them, but at least they don't bite without a reason. And the necromancer thingy? It's something new. Her voice lowers to a whisper. I've never been to the White Marshes, but over the years we've seen people moving away from their south. They told us the place has changed too much. A priest died, I think? And the new ones awakens the dead. Sorry, Roadwarden, that's all I know. She's hiding something, she sounds convincing. Can you tell me about the wild creatures? I told you our knowledge is valuable. I don't know. She looks at the boar, which seems to be obsessed with a clump of grass. 15 dragons! It's good information. This fills out a bestiary with the ways to fight these monsters. More optimal ways to lean the battles in our favors. It's not foolproof, but still. Well, depending on the friend, let's say 15. If it's too much for you, ask maybe after you spend some time around. Show us what you're capable of. Or play dice with us when you have an hour to spare. These folk here, they crave gossip. She points to the guards whispering behind her. There's an armorer. No time has passed during this discussion. Head to the armorer. You walk past the well and find a small open shed. Behind there, on Not unlike the stable, but with a humble set of tables, carving tools, hammers, sharpening stones, pincers, knives, and other tools. As long as something can be solved by brute force, this place will find a way to do so. There are two people sitting on a long bench. The first one is a male with a maybe inch-long hair, a cleanly shaven face, a thin, long yellow tunic, bare legs, and sandals. He ignores your presence, doing a gambeson with great concentration. The second person is a boy, maybe 15, who's wearing the crude outfit of a farmer. He glances at you, but soon returns to sharpening a long dagger. Greetings. The man raises his head, but it's the boy who speaks. Focus on this task. He ain't talking. Tell him what it is that you need. The man smiles in confirmation, looks at a piece of garment in his hands, then looks around, shrugs, and returns to you with a raised eyebrow. I might need your services. He nods, points to the laces in front of your jacket, raises it with a clenched fist to his shoulder, then gently spreads and lowers them, as if he's taking off a robe. You follow his command and allow him to properly inspect your gambeson. After a few minutes, he gives it back, then reaches for his pouch. He pulls out one dragon bone, shrug, and takes another one and waves, both of them in the air, pursing his lips. He makes a few speech-like noises with his empty mouth, groaning what sounds like "I don't know." So he doesn't know how to fix it any better, no matter how much money I give him. I ask him if he can improve it. He nods into city, but then apologetically points behind him at a small box full of basic tools. He had experience, says the assistant. We do this and that, but it's only a simple thing. Okay, so it's like a... Okay, so they're like self-taught armorers. Can you patch my clothes if they're torn? He shakes his head and points at the uneven seams on his own tunic. Then grabs a crude bone needle and shows it you his broken head. You wouldn't even if he had the tools, but you can try it in Hallersdale or Gale's Rocks. Okay, so you can do only basic repairs. Doggy, why? Doggy, why? Let me take a drink while we wait for the dog to stop barking. Okay, back to it. I look at the youngster. Learning the trade? Kind of. He answers reluctantly, but his stitcher past his knees, giving me a harsh look. The kid clears his throat. Yes, but we both ain't masters, you see. There's not a soul to teach us, so once I am ready, I'll try hunting instead. Fixing things for others is boring. The man grunts with a sound, though you don't understand. Seeing your face, the boy chuckles. He said safe. Let's be in the middle, boring but safe. The man nods. Let's go and forage for these. Let me check the well. The recently renovated wooden roof of the well covers the well from rain and birds. One of the guards is enjoying a cold drink. He drew with a bucket. It tells you to only use as much water as necessary. I don't have any equipment to wash myself, so I can't do anything here. Let's forage for the berries we were asked, so in exchange for food. The innkeeper knew what he was talking about. You put on the gloves and look through the bushes from a safe distance. It doesn't take long before you notice the first serpent lying on a rock, somewhere in the thicket. The creatures are not that large, and even if some of them hiss at you or slither closer, the jabs of the hook keeps them at a safe distance. You don't know how much these berries. You don't know much about these berries. They're round and reddish. You wouldn't trust such a color even if you were looking for food in the wilderness. The plants don't have thorns, but the leaves are harsh, so you make sure to totally cover your skin with your clothes. You take a look through many bushes to fill the bucket. The presence of insects and snakes doesn't allow you to relax. I gather the berries and go back to the inn. It took us 45 minutes. You return to the courtyard. Two of the guards are participating in a friendly skirmish. The wrestling is accompanied by a crowd. Go inside the inn. The locked windows make the air stuffy, and the weak fire of the stove hardly lightens up the hall. But it's dark. The innkeeper is sitting at the stove, cleaning a set of metal tools and ladles. So you again. Need anything? Put the fruits on the counter. Ah, food! Great. He peeks inside the bucket. I've got cabbage stew with a few goose chunks for you. I'd serve it even to merchants, if there were any around. The meal is warm and filling. It's well seasoned and not overcooked. So he's a good cook. And like I've said, I rarely have food to spare, but feel free to ask if you ever stop by. You may be lucky, and I've been cooking my whole life. Thanks. How did that old hook of mine work out for you? I see you still have it in your hands. I see you still have it in your hands, and I lie about it. With his hook in my hands. I lost it. Should we get that hook for ourselves? A berry picking hook. Maybe we could pick berries while with it. Sure. Make ourselves some free food. want to buy it from you. He knows his eyes. Can you make one for yourself? A hook given to you by the innkeeper from the path of the north. Its head is made from a dark animal claw. Ah. People in the countryside often use bones, claws, or tusks, or even stones to make tools, but this one is quite large. It's a very large claw. It's the claw that grabs my interest, honestly. I see. It's a nice one, ain't it? My guards once had to get rid of a pebbler. You can't really eat them, but their claws and bones are durable enough, so we put them to good use. For a moment, he observes your face. A single coin will be fair. Let me check what the pebbler is. In my glossary. Boop. Pebbler. Like most people, you know quite a bit about pebblers. Maybe the most infamous source of nuisance for farmers across the Dragon Woods. They can get as big as a house, and maybe just as heavy. Oof. They're gigantic. As big as a house? From time to time, pebblers look for some unusual taste like meat or honey, which can encourage them to bother human settlements. Once they get used to a specific spot, like an unfenced farm or a forest garden, getting rid of them is maybe a huge endeavor. There are but a few blades able to cut through their thick skin and durable bones, and a single mistake may put them into a furious charge, and encourage them to look for human dwellings to tear them down in revenge. Let's read about the Dragon Woods. Dragon Bones. Dragon Woods. A territory set in the northern part of the land, separated from the southern realm by the growing mountains. It's covered with forests, wetlands, jungles, and meadows, sewn together with a dense web of rivers. The swamp, lakes, and thicket force the locals to use strong, meandering roads. What about the growing mountains? A massive mountain chain with hundreds of springs, caves, short plants, and snows at the peaks. With its narrow gorges and the watchtower built by the 10 cities, it separates the Dragon Woods from the wastelands. Even the water next to it are difficult to cross without entering the deep seas. The local tribes are known as clans, both independent and connected by their tight cultural bonds. The land? The continent known to the northerners. It's surrounded by great oceans, separated from other distant regions that were just recently discovered. Colonizing all these realms is still at its dawn, and only a few ships have returned from them. Well, hopefully these other lands don't have the wrath of the herds, so the northerner can actually expand. I'll pay a single coin. We got 3 coins from gambling. Yeah, we have 8. Pay them. And we're looking for 100 coin from our quests, so it's not gonna... 1 coin is not gonna make a difference. Anything else? What do you have to sell? I can go and pick up a few things for you. Some food for your travels to start with. Apples, nuts, sausages. Not too many at once. We need to maintain our supplies. I've got an elk fur. I don't need it. Its buyer was caught by a pack of red wolves. Nice for a sleeping spot, just as nice for a wall. An almost untouched bowl of soap. Priceless for a traveler. You can't tell if he's being sarcastic. Made of fine oak ash. Strong. So you should have some better supplies before you start your own bathhouse. So you mentioned you'd like something more useful for these roads. He looks down. I don't have any blades or armor to spare, but if you pay well, you can take one of our crossbows and a bunch of quarrels. A yew-bow, wool cord, and the trigger needs to be a little bit of oil. It's as good as you can get without soaking it in magic. Well, we already have a crossbow. It takes a bit of muscle to draw, but even a 16-year-old could handle it. I won't sell it cheap, but I'm ready to give a discount to a helpful ally. What do you have? I can't even buy the crossbow because I already have one. 1 money for the soap? And 2 monies for some arrows. How many arrows do I have? 3. I can buy for 1 monies. For 2 monies, I can buy 5 arrows. It's kind of expensive. We'll keep it for now. An elk fur, a high-class fur, a valuable commodity for 17 money points. Let's buy the soap. An oak-based balm that burns your skin no longer, so I can now wash myself a bit before we get to a big city or something. Can I sell you something? You bought some items, but the innkeeper shakes his head. I don't need those, nor could I sell them to anyone. I'd rather make coins than waste them, so bring me something of value. Different traders are interested in different goods. They'll purchase only some of the things you have to sell, and the offers may vary. So for example, if I were to buy this, if I had the money to buy this elk fur, I could move around and sell it to multiple different people who would have different prices for it, depending on their settlement. I'm looking for the previous Roadwarden, Arstirian. Are you now? He goes to the table and invites you to sit down with him. I don't think I'm going to be much help. He rests his elbow on the tabletop and grunts quietly. But I do want you to find him, so... When asked about his intentions, he measures his words. Arstirian and I made a risky deal. Well, a promising one. Last time he was here, he took 50 coins. My half of the investment. He knocks at the table with a fist, anxiously. If you get my coin, or at least find out what happened, I make sure you won't be disappointed after bringing me the news. Could be that Asterion stole the coins and ran away. He looks at the window and starts to play with the shutter. I just think Asterion ain't the kind of soul to do such a thing. For him, it wasn't much of a fortune, and I risk saying, oh, what? 50 coins for him wasn't much of a fortune, huh? He was kind of rich. For him, it wasn't much of a fortune, and I risk saying he had earned my trust. Not only mine, but you know, it's easy for a Roadwarden to make connections. He always has places to go, things to take care of. He rubs the table with his thumb, as if trying to clean an invisible stain. I've asked travelers. I spent a couple of my pals to find him. No real news. I know he stayed in White Marsh for a day, and was meant to do something for the people there. It's a village in the northwest. Just down the main road until you reach the bogs, then enter them. You may get there before dusk. Nah. The way people talk about distances is that they know about the route. But we don't know about the road, so whenever we travel it takes much more time than what the locals say it does. But once we know the route, it does. So for example, if I was to head all the way there, it would take us like 2 days. But then once we know the location, we can travel here and back a couple of times in like a couple hours. Anyway. So let me know once you find anything, and we may yet return to this whole investment thing. What else do I need? Can you tell me about this location? What could anyone say? This place doesn't even have a name, unless there's an old book in an archive that no soul knows about. You know what they call everything from here to the coast? The hunting ground. Glance at your eyes, but it's not us who hunt. Keep that in heart, but the beasts in all shapes and forms. His words gain confidence slowly, which is strengthened by his deep voice. I've lived in this inn for over 10 years now, and I've only seen a couple of roads, a couple of places. It's just, once you get here and you see how harsh it is to hit the road, you have only more reasons to stay in the warm stove behind the wall, even if it's suffocating. He looks towards the windows. I'm sure you heard a lot already, that the people don't build hamlets anymore. There are no more abexes from the south. The traders stay on for only a few days. All of our iron is used for cauldrons, not swords or tools. So it's a particularly hostile land. Let's read about the south. Glossary. The Southern Realms. A vast, varied area known to the older Northerners as the Wastelands. The realms near the growing mountains are indeed little more than deserts, marshes, and barren hills, but the farther south one travels, the more fields, herds, and cities they'll find. Since there are no jungles and homes for gigantic beasts, the tribes have to compete with each other over resources. Before the invasion that took place 1 generation ago, the southern tribes were called barbarians. The southern realms were known as the Wasteland. Read about the southern invasion. Since the rise of the 10 cities, their state, priests, and artists have portrayed the lands south of the Great Mountains as barbaric, primitive, and inferior. The pagan beliefs and technological advancement of the barbarians were mocked and diminished, while the corsairs who were sent against them to pillage were just seen as servants of Right's people. These were times of a complex mix of bigotry, cruelty, and the arms races. The nations living in the deserts joined their forces, not always willingly, with the realms from an even deeper south, which strengthened their defenses and allowed them to push back against the cities. The turning points occurred when an alchemist introduced black powder to the nations of the south. 25 years ago, the tribes launched a massive campaign through the growing mountains, this time using the new weapon to take down the unprepared strongholds. The cities, unaware of the existence of explosives, took heavy losses. The clans of the growing mountains knew they could do nothing to stop the enemy troops and let them pass freely. The invaders set camps at the feet of the mountains and began their expansion. The city forces, weakened by the plague, weren't able to keep up with the numbers of the tribes. This time prepared for guerrilla warfare. The invaders conquered multiple settlements, releasing slaves and gaining valuable knowledge. The southerners realized that they should avoid the cities at any cost, so slowly moving towards the northern coast and they fighting over the villages and lesser military outposts, either burning them to the ground or sparing them in exchange for food and other forms of support. I'm surprised the herds didn't unleash their wrath on these guys. I guess maybe, well, I'm not sure, but I'm gonna guess in the south they don't have the wrath of the herds to deal with, so you'd think they would accidentally trigger it. After just 3 years, the war already had its winner, but the cities refused to give up, no matter the cost. When the southern tribes finally took over the couple of provinces at once, they used new supplies of black powder to, for the first time in history, conquer one of the cities. Since the Empress was nowhere to be found, the Imperial Court surrendered in her name. So we now need to learn about the plague and the Empress. The plague. The decentralized civilization of the north makes it difficult for epidemics to spread. Most of the time, the deadly illnesses wipe out the entire settlements before they have a chance to transfer outside. The cities keep an eye on dangerous symptoms and use magic to eliminate any pestilence before it gets out of control. However, just 10 years before the Southern invasion, the plague overran the realm, surprising even the mages of the most experienced herbalists. Its symptoms were difficult to spot, and it attacked most of the cities pretty much at the same time, spreading to the closest villages quickly. Every 20th Northerner had died before the leaders found a way to overcome this crisis, so 1/5. Anything else? The Empress. The North used to be ruled by an emperor or an empress. They, or rather their court, were a chief of the capital city, the head of the United Church, and the commander-in-chief. While the villagers were aware of the existence of their court, almost none of them ever had an opportunity to see the world faces. The 10 cities united the city folk, but the vast majority of the common folks felt attached only to their own village, to the larger tribe to which the settlements belonged to, and called themselves the Northerners. The role of the emperor was shaped by 1,500 years of tradition. Ideally, the most suitable candidate was elected by the 10 chiefs of the cities, but thanks to the nepotism and power held by the court, almost all of the elected emperor belonged to a small group of royal families. Ooh! It's an elected emperorship. I guess it's kind of like Byzantium. But it looks like it... Well, I don't know much about the history, but it looks like it didn't have the plagues of 1 bajillion civil wars that the Byzantines had. I guess it's because in this realm, you don't have... Because they're at the herds, if you want to get more power, you gotta make more settlements or something. Losing in the southern invasion has discredited the position of the emperors. The ruling empress has disappeared and never officially lost her position. At first, her duties were carried out by the court and city chiefs, but after the army lost to the southerner, the first usurpers came... Oh, never mind, Civil War. The first usurpers came to the surface. The interregnum, political intrigues, rivalry, and assassinations brought the city folk to the point where they are losing faith in their state. Okay, well, good to know. Back to it. This peninsula, the hunting grounds, is a really harsh reality. What would I find traveling west? Well, there are hills nearby, but then you'll find a village, maybe an hour away from here. It's not an hour away. It was destroyed by beasts. Oh, wait, never mind. Maybe that is an hour away. It was destroyed by beasts almost a decade ago. Nothing to see there. The goblins live there now, so most people just travel around it. And they say it's haunted, but who knows? Who cares? He crosses his arms and starts to sway back and forth, gathering his thoughts. You get to a large tree on the edge of the swamp. For the locals, it's sacred. You're not used to hearing someone mentioning pagans as if there's nothing unusual about them. There's a small path south which leads to an old mine in the mountains. Nothing to find there. But keep riding north and you'll find Howler's Dell. It's at a clean brook. Farmers that live there, and mouflons and druids. They do to stay for the night, but they're not cheap. If anyone thinks my prices are bad, it means they ain't been to the Ape Hell Inn yet. Smile politely. I know only a bit about the next settlement, Old Pagos. The soil there ain't too fertile, so they work in their quarry and help others settlement build things in exchange for crops. The forests and hills ain't too harsh, but the seekers of a small monastery is nearby, in the mountains. I don't care much about them, they keep to themselves and they don't pay well. The third village is unknown to me, White Marshes, set in the bogs. I've heard it smells like a griffin's lair. I've heard a lot of nasty rumors about the place, but I won't share them, I don't want to be a lie spreader. So 3 villages really. Howlers, the one near the monastery, whatever it's called, and Marshes. Don't let their beds and palisades fool you though. Weird people live there. Don't tell them more than you need to. You wonder if something he would tell other travelers as well. What about the eastern roads? Pretty much. Don't leave the main road, I'd say. Not so far from here you'll find an old dolmen. A few of my people had to spend the night there, and monkeys stole food and gods from their bags. It was their fault. One of them had fell asleep in the middle of the watch, but you know. The eastern forests are wild, the roads are rough. Almost no soul lives there. One day all these roads will be swallowed by the trees again. The furthest my team has ever gone was the home of the Enchantress. Just stay on the track until you reach the crossroad, right near an abandoned watchtower. From there turn east. You recognize the place. It's a nice home in a lovely meadow, surrounded by a wall. He looks towards the closest window, then at you again. Kinda like our wall, but simpler, without coating. She lives as a hermit, Eudocia. I don't even know how she survives there, but if you don't have decent coin, you won't find much there. So back to the crossroad. If you turn left instead, you'll see a road. People stay away from it. It connects to the tower and the monastery, a shortcut between the two sides of the peninsula. I was warned by locals not to use it. It already belongs to the beasts. In the north? I only know about another inn. It's far from here, maybe a day or on foot. A bit less from the eastern side. His eyes once again focus on the floor. I've never been there, but I've heard it's a safe place. Close to villages are fishers and hunters. I don't know much about them. That's all I need. Okay, so we have a bit of a bit of an explanation of the general, like, half this peninsula. They didn't expect to find an inn of this size in the place, just says this. Ah, so you know a thing or two after all. His mocking tone soon is replaced by a gentle smile. It was built long before we arrived. It didn't work out well for the previous owners. Once the war ended, they left. Not enough travelers, bad trade, the villages stick to themselves. We, however, came prepared, and now we're prospering. When you ask him how they can afford all the supplies, he runs his fingers through his dark hair. I'm not against running an inn, but we don't rely on guests. We're the ones doing all the trading. My hunters are a clever bunch, and we stay safe in the forests. In exchange for furs, claws, and bones, we get what we need and more, both from the south and the north. He relaxes in his chair. We have a good life here. We spend a whole lot on armor, crossbows, lumbers, spears. But in another 10, maybe 20 years, we'll have enough savings to move to Hovlevan and not work for another day in our lives. We take risks, but smartly. The team is stronger than ever, and I have big plans for us. So he's like a hunting expedition. It's surprising to find a purple-skinned man so far in the north. I ain't seen a soul looking like this since my mother died, he shrugs. It's not a fascinating tale. Let's just say I wasn't part of the invasion. Yet I'm glad it freed all those who were chained by the cities and their corsairs. He looks at the wall. I'm Jason, by the way. But I already hear the name. Is this marked in our journal, by the way? Characters? Humans? Yeah. Asterion, Jason, Tulia. We're missing one. Somebody gave us the name of the mayor of Hallersdale. Anglacia. Not written there. I think maybe in my quest. Tice, the mayor, and Glacia, the leader of the bandit gang. There's a good story behind the inn's name, Pelt of the North. I mean, there is a story, but not a good one. He clears his throat. For years I wanted to have an inn called Pelt, but in my city, it would be a bad taste. Taverns and inns named with a single word were cheap, had a nasty reputation. There was the Claw, and the Mugger, Basilisk, and Blissful, I think. The good places used to have at least two words: Empty Barrel, a rose in a helmet, Empress's Smile, Pighead. Pighead was the exception. It was a real dive. In my soul, it's still just a pelt. Pelts are what we came here for, and what will make us reach our goals. Okay. About the bandit gang, I don't have anything to say. Any rumors? He crosses his arms. I don't like to talk about people who ain't nearby, but you know what you're doing. Who are you pondering about? Tell me about... Oh, Empress. Let's try that. Yeah, there's these sections in the game where you have to type out what you want to do, and I think they're pretty good. Lots of secrets in those. Empress. What do you mean? Are you trying to find her after all these years? The Empress is gone, and she will never be back. She's as dead as shit. Okay, what about yourself, Jason? You need to know about me to survive on the road. I'm Jason. I've been in the city, now I'm here. What about the guard outside? I forgot her name. Did we get her name? Gracia, Tice, Tulia, the soldier. Oh wait, no, she didn't. She actually didn't give us her name. We asked and she didn't trust us. Let's talk about Tulia, the soldier lieutenant. I've seen Tulia in quite some time. Since her squad vanished in the fogs, she's been careful. Glad to know she's still alive. She's too inexperienced to lead the others to battle, I think. Like most people, she needs to follow others, but she already knows that. There's nothing worse than a fighter who's too stupid to follow the limitations. What about myself, Leto? Don't get a Roadwarden, okay. Glacia, the bandit leader. I met her more than once. She's older than me, wrinkled, tanned. I don't know how she has survived for so long. I've heard she's from the coast. I don't really know her story. She's strong, though, and convincing. She wanted to move her band to Pelt, make huts in the courtyard. When I told her to leave, she didn't make any scene or anything, but her face was chilling. And she may want revenge. Glacia is a cruel soul in a scary shell. Can I ask her about Pelt? Ah, no, it's only about names of people. Tice. People say she's a good mayor, but she's rich from birth, so also careless. She doesn't know the struggle, the hunger and dirt. She fancies her clothes, more than one should. She thinks she keeps her village safe, even though it's the druids who do all the work. He looks down at Fanny speaks again. She's very frivolous, but she isn't stupid. If you're smart, better keep your eyes open. And do we have one last name in my notes? Oh, Asterion. Oh, hey, look at that. When I ask about the name, it adds it. I get Jason's opinion of what happened. According to Yason, she's more efficient. Galatia. According to Yason, she's stand. Let's talk about Asterion. Well, not a large man, though broad-shouldered, red hair and beard. I don't know what to say. He raises a muscled arm and placed a hand on the back of his head. He was a fine fellow, but I doubt he's alive. He always tried to stay away from things, let's say. People knew him, but he didn't really have allies. Maybe the locals know what happened to him? Decided not to help him, or they wanted to get rid of him? He leaned forward to look at his boots. Asterion was a fine man. A quiet one, but not dumb. He did me many times, not for free, of course. When he couldn't finish the job, it was for damn good reasons. And you know what? He looks me in the eyes. He was scrupulous, patient. I'd be shocked if he died because of some mistake of his. Maybe the bandits got to him? Why not? Can I ask about more vague things like soldier? That's Tulia. What about soldier in a shirt? The companion of Tula. Don't know them. Okay. What about necromancer? When he crosses his arms, the rooms get a bit colder. I'm a city man, Roadwarden. I've seen dozens of priests and monks saying the craziest shit for the sake of coins, dominance, and obsessions. Pagans, druids, necromancers. I don't care about any of it, as long as they keep to themselves. The locals ain't hostile, and I won't repay them by spreading rumors about them, so they won't tell me. Can I ask about the druids? No. Can I ask about... I mean, we've had about the hunters, maybe? Hunter? Ah, and he's talking about his own team. Also, let me let the dog out. Go, doggy, go. My team is more than a dozen strong people, he says with confidence. All of them experienced hunter. They work for coins, sure, but they put our lives first. I don't allow any recklessness. Over the past 10 years, only 4 of us have died, and 2 of them from sickness. With the kids from the villages who have joined us, we're doing better than fine. He looks around and leans towards you. A crappy warrior in the forest gives you only worries. I'm the one who decides who's in. They train, learn how to understand one another in the middle of chaos about the monsters and traps. Teamwork, that's the key. With our walls and a bunch of this, is the safest place in the north. At least as long as the dragons stay away. Can I ask about dragons? Don't know them, okay. Monks. The monks are unusual. I've heard they live in isolation, locked in their mountains like prisoners. My team saw wagons from old Pagos that they were carrying wood and stone to the monastery, but I don't know what for. He scratches his head. We were also invited to a wedding that took place in the village, and they were reciting lines from Wright's tablets. They feel like some forbidden heresy, you feel me? At least the monks know about alchemy. Their potions play a big part during our hunting trips. Can I ask about the wedding? No. About maybe the Wright? He smiles against the ceiling. I don't know them all that well. If you want to hunt down the beast, you need to know where it sleeps. But where's Wright's bed? How many blades can they swallow before they die? Can I ask about my horse, Rose? Okay, let's stop for now. I think that's all we can ask about. Yeah, we can come back later if we want to. How much time do we have left? 11 hours. Let's leave. Let's explore a bit. I think we'll sleep the night in the inn, but let's first explore around a bit. Let's keep heading west. The road uphill meanders, slowing you down and forcing you to pay close attention to not only the shadows and trees, but also to tight, rocky passages. You can help but notice a few caves and fine ambush spots. Keep an eye out for any signs of life. The ruined village. Took us 45 minutes. Standing in front of the gate, you hear no voices, no tools at work, no steps. Dozens of birds live among the collapsed roofs. Their fluttering, singing, and squawking is free of worries. If you want to travel any further, you need to ride around the palisade. Searching the ruins may take a lot of time. The broken gate in the north will lead to the village. The sound of a gentle river reaches you from the east, where you see a saggy fence surrounded by an overgrown pasture. Behind the burnt building in the east, you see an oddly barren field. There's a building near the field. The broken logs and planks are charred, while the wooden walls are rotten and covered in moss. You see no ashes or dust, proving that the fire happened long ago. The smell is awful, and there are no reasons to stay for long. You see no furniture, just some odd broken shelves. It was just a storage room. The valuable odds and ends were already taken. The gate? The palisade's in good shape, and the entrances wasn't even touched by the fire. was thrown away, possibly thrown. The amount of used force must have been huge. We expect that it would push the gate into the village, not away from it. So it was pushed from the inside. You don't see any marks of a dragon bite. A troll could touch the planks, but after so many years, you see no paw prints. A mage? You can't really tell. Move forward. Where do we want to go? The fields, the village, the pasture. Let's check out inside the village. The buildings, some of which have collapsed, are made of wood, now charred and rotten. You spot claw marks on the walls, especially close to the doors and window frames. It could belong to a dragonling or a large wolf, larger than the grey ones, or corpse eaters. Too many options to make a guess. Well, let's read about those. Corpse eaters and dragonlings. These hairless, the corpse eaters. These hairless, scaleless creatures resemble constantly stooped apes, but their limbs and torsos are extremely thin, as if there are barely any muscle on them. While they're nimble, their limited strength turned them into scavengers. They rarely move in packs. Rice followers preach that corpse eaters should be purged from the dragonwoods, no matter the cost. A famous tale from the tablets described the ancient homes of these beasts, the Shadow Vale. They hunted and devoured any human they could find, and woke up their undead shell right away, even without the fog. Countless expeditions, even from days before the 10 cities, were meant to wipe them out of the woods. And dragonlings. Dragonlings are fast and bipedal, often as tall as humans. Travelers encountered their packs near the roads. They're used to chasing their prey, with an extra advantage of in an empty field than in a forest. They have a thick, dragon-like skin, powerful jaws, short hands, and some of them are partially covered with furs. So like, human-sized T-Rexes. It's not like they have furs. Like dinosaurs. Bipedal. Yet no beasts remain in sight. You find the remains of clothes, furniture, and odds and ends. Only one object seems to be of use, a basket-like fish trap made of vines and willow branches. If a large fish swims into it, it won't be able to get out of it on its own. It's quite large, but it can fit in my own saddle. We have now a fish trap. You feel a slight ache in your stomach. Where do you want to go? I can keep exploring the village, the main square, the palisade to the west. Let's go like to the west, like this. The palisade to the west. The tracks of human footwear and many more ape footprints cover the path formed around the palisade's breach. As far as you can tell, the freshest footprints lead to the village. The wooden stakes spread on the ground are rotted, covered in mushrooms, small flowers, insects, and worms. A good source of animal and goblin food. You expect them to also hunt for birds and eggs. The meadow to the west turns to a forest quickly. The grasses in the north surrounded dozens of tree stumps already covered with moss and fungi. I should enter the forest. It's unpredictable. You feel a slight aching in your stomach. Where do you want to go? North. Let's keep going like this. The colorful grass covers the entire fenced pasture. The large stone placed in the middle suggests it could be a playground for ibexes, or maybe it's just an old garden. You see a couple of small sheds, a latrine, and a single building to the south, completely burned down. All these places were cleaned out by scavengers. Rose doesn't want to approach the large ruin to the north. The double stench of feces and rotting food scares you off as well. The path is covered with goblin footprints. It's daytime. The pack should be asleep, but if the beasts were active, they would try to scare you off or to hunt down your mount. This is their territory, and once they wake up, you'll face a furious enemy. Let's keep going. Your stomach makes you let out a painful groan. Are you getting sick? Let's check out the main square. In every village, the main square is the fanciest area, meant to charm the travelers, yet this is way more than you expected. The houses are as big as in Havlevan, and the paved ground took a lot of work and materials. The walls, now charred and riddled with holes, are made of expensive coated wattle. The tiles for roofs are also had to be brought here from a different element. Clay roof, wattle and daub, covered and coated, painted white, paved roads. I think even back in Windy Meadow, we didn't even have paved roads yet. Only the main square was paved. Well, kind of like this actually. You peek inside the three smaller buildings, the rotten remains of the former splendor. The birds living in dozens of nests respond to your arrival with quite a commotion. You don't even find a single dragon bone, nor a tool or a piece of furniture left unbroken or unrotted. You're surrounded by bad smells, dirt, animal droppings, and garbage. Garbage. The well also stinks. It has no bucket, but you'll be afraid to use it anyway. Who knows how many birds have relieved themselves inside, or how many old rats have found their deaths while climbing up the walls. Suddenly you hear some sounds coming from the largest building. You stop and touch your aching stomach. We're kind of ill, but we're a trained fighter. We should be fine. Check it out with my axe. You step cautiously towards the scent of urine and sweat. The flickering candle light shows you broken furniture, yet no sign of burnt wood. You consider pulling the other door when a masculine voice proves that your presence is not unnoticed. I did not want it to come to this, Basti. Well, I did not want this to come to this. But stay where you are. Whatever you put inside, be a shoe or hand or your damn tinker, it'll get a bolt. Let's make a joke. I'm a Roadwarden, so I think I need my tinker. Will the boot be enough? Aren't you a funny one? He growls. How'd you know a droll like you is telling the truth? Walk slowly, Roadster, eh? If you're not an outlaw, you're safe. If you are, don't try anything funny. Leave your arms out, my little ballista here is all pulled and ready. The man's voice is imposing and his accent is tricky for you. You can be from the distance south. Blah, blah, blah. You can be from the distance south, but as long as you don't speak too quickly, you understand one another. You don't hear any other movement, breathing, voices. You lean your axe against the doorframe and make sure that your knife is well hidden. Walk inside. The dense smell of urine hits you with full force, while the tools and utensils are hard to distinguish from the rubbish. The route to the upper floor is blocked by the collapsed roof and loose wooden beams. There are scraps of rusting iron and steel on the ground, detached from now destroyed barrels. He's harvesting metal. That's a thing. We heard about it back in Windy Meadow, but because iron and steel is very precious and rare, recycling it from burnt or destroyed places like this, destroying some barrels to get their iron scraps, is actually a very well-paying scavenging job. The scavenger is sitting on a blanket in front of the tent, pointing at you with a loaded crossbow. Not a short man, though he's a bit skinny. He's tanned, dark-haired, and has seen his share of struggles. There are long claw scars on his left cheek, another one that would divide his eyebrow in half if it hadn't been consumed by a fire, like the rest of his forehead. Ooh. His clothes are untainted by vanity. He's barefoot in a dirty linen shirt, with rolled-up sleeves and simple pants that use a cord for a belt. His long beard and hair are untrimmed and entangled. Standing near the door, watching his weapon, I'm prepared. He follows your gaze. Not a good way to make the air warmer, eh? I know to be safe, that's all. I can't let you stay in my shelter. You better ride ahead. I already piled up whatever hasn't rotten. Candle lights are dancing on his burnt face and arms. I saw your horse. Maybe you could help me in? What are you looking for in this place? You don't sound like you're from the north. I want to make sure there are no undead crawling around. I want to get to know the peninsula. I'm showing dragon bones. I mean, I am. I was wondering what caused this place to collapse. About some bandits. They could have a hideout nearby. Looking for another Roadwarden, mainly known as Asterion. Let's say we're short on money. Because I want money. That's my goal. That's my entire reason for being here. Aren't we all? Aren't we all? You came to the wrong place. Time, moisture, and the damn borers devoured all the loot. I've been here for a couple of days now, and that's all that's left is this iron I carried here. I was planning to get back here with some hired muscle and clear the collapsed building, but I doubt it's worth the time and risk. So listen. He scratches his thighs, and you ask what's bothering him. He sighs, but he doesn't look away. I'm hungry. So damn hungry. I can't hunt or fish with all the ape men around. Can you share anything, Roaster? Maybe a drifter. I wouldn't beg if I had not lost my bags on the road. Sure, I have some food. Already ate today, so it would be fine. Take my rations. He just has a relief breath. I cut out 10 minutes ago, which I think would have been during our conversation with the guy in the shed. I think, maybe. So it looks like we have really. Let me see. How's the stream going? Because it did cut out earlier. Seems to be quite meh. I mean, it's a text-based game. We don't need to have the highest FPS, but still. Yeah, it'll work out, probably. Maybe. But also, we're having internet issues. They're struggling. We're having some internet issues, so I think we're going to stop here. We'll talk about what we missed and stuff tomorrow. For now, that was our initial look at Roadwarden. We've only been to like 4 locations, but we already have mysteries to solve and quests to do. Anyhow, see you guys tomorrow. Okay, bye.